Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Crypto Hipster Podcast. This is your host, Jamil Hassan, the Crypto Hipster, where I interview founders, entrepreneurs, co-founders, executives, thought leaders in crypto and blockchain all around the world. And today I have an amazing guest coming to me from the other side of the world. I am in East Coast, US, and he is in Singapore. It's a pleasure to introduce the co-founder of Tranchess, Danny Chong. Danny, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jamal. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much for joining me. Let me ask you first, what is your background and is it a logical background for what you're doing now?
So my background, I'm an engineer by training, an electrical engineer. And thereafter I spent 17 years in investment banks like BNP Paribas, Société Générale, and I've been in roles that involves trading, sales, even structuring, looking after Asia Pacific region. Now, coming into DeFi, it's actually very logical. Why? Well, we believe that ultimately, financial inclusion is going to be both for DeFi and traditional finance. And what you learn from the fact that being in that many years of TradFi is that it's very systematic, it's very robust, but also there are some parts of what you try to do in terms of tech development that will be hindered by geographical position, by resources and legacy programs. Now, when you're onto DeFi, right, everything you can start from a brand new page. It's a new tag. And everything can be so much easier without clutter to be moving along to what you want it to be. And I also want to say that DeFi, like when we operate, it's more like a startup. We have lesser people. If we feel that that is the direction that we want to proceed on, we can actually move on much faster than having many roundtables across the globe. And we can be very focused on a certain direction that we would like to focus on. So that is a super plus, and it makes it super relevant for someone having a TradFi experience to be in DeFi and trying to build something that's related to the convergence of the financial markets.
I would also think that the TradFi is also very bureaucratic, and in DeFi we get to skip the bureaucracy.
Well, for sure, that's one of them. I think some of the bureaucracy or some of the red tapes are set in for good reason, but definitely there will be hopefully more efficient ways that we can try and carry that out in the DeFi space.
Yeah, I agree. So I want to find out what Tranchess is all about, including your point systems and how you maintain stable yield as well.
So Tranchess started since 2021. We originally had it more like an asset tracking, asset management on chain for underlying assets like BTC, Ethereum, BNB, and so on. But we also move along with times. As soon as we are able to grasp Ethereum validated staking, we move on into it. We first started with BNB staking before we move on to Ethereum staking. And since then, we have also evolved into moving on into LST kind of the ecosystem. So we can now also look at taking underlying, which is a stake token, the likes of Lido staking, the likes of Stone, the likes of Soft BTC, and we're going to have one more release actually very soon. There is a stake version of BNB. But if I can put it into a simple sentence for people to understand what we are doing, we can help you with our products available on Tranchess to basically diversify your risk for your stake token or your underlying asset. In Tranchess, there are basically always ability for you to have a main fund and to split into a stable fund and also more like a turbo or boosted token. Now, just looking at what we have recently on our collaboration with Stakestone, which is basically a stake ETH version equivalent, is that once you put a stone inside, you can split it into a stable stone as well as a turbo point stone. Now, what is the stable stone? What does it give to you? This is for users who wants to have a basic kind of like a U that is more or less a baseline at 6%, and it will move higher with more demand for turbo side. So you have holding underlying of your stone, which is, again, as explained, underlying belongs to Ethereum. You hold on to it, you have a minimum of 6% for the tenure of the fund. And thereafter, if the demand for the turbo side increases, you could get as high as over 25% as we have seen recently. Now, on the other side, a turbo points stone means to say that users are more interested in potential of the token value being much higher when it gets listed on exchange. So how the point works is that for every one turbo token that you hold, you'll be given 20 points. So if you believe, for example, in the future when the token gets listed, you will get definitely a lot more benefits by having holding on to more points, which can be exchanged for tokens. This is how essentially our stable stone and also our turbo point stone works. I hope that I managed to explain it in a easy to understand manner, because I do feel that what we are trying to do in terms of splitting of the product is a bit new in the market, and so far I don't think anyone in the space has done it except for us.
That's the first time I've heard of it.
Yeah, some
all.
users will compare us to Pendle, but Pendle splits the product in a very different way, in which they split a principal token from their U, but now we are doing it in a much different way. We have products that we can split a stable version and a turbo version. So it's really quite different.
I know that Tether's been a big thing in Singapore. So stablecoins have been very important in Singapore. What's the benefit to your clientele of the turbo opportunity?
So I think that's two different questions that we are talking about. First of all, I do agree in terms of the stable coin setup in Singapore. It has been very well addressed. I think what's now very clear to people coming here interested to set up a stable coin, there are clear rules that are set up by the regulator on how would you qualify or able to so-called set up a stable coin in Singapore. Now that's one part. In terms of how users can benefit from turbo, I think then it definitely will differentiate entirely from users of stablecoin. Why? Normally users of stablecoin they would generally want to be not having market risk, which means that they prefer to be holding a dollar-based product rather than holding on to crypto or digital assets. But on the contrary, turbo is meant for only sophisticated users who clearly knows and is quite into frequent maybe even buying and selling of tokens, buying and selling of underlying assets. Then they will have an idea of, okay, I would be sure to want to have this turbo because I believe strongly that the token is going to have a huge value when it gets listed on certain exchanges. So I think in terms of like looking at the users of a stable token as well as the users of a turbo, they're entirely different, two different dynamics and different user characteristics.
Yeah, I can relate to the non-stable coin. I'm I prefer to speculate. That's me though.
Uh-huh.
So that I like, I think back to when I was 6 and I was playing, and my dad taught me this game, and the game was called chess. And I learned how to play it, and it took me 4 or 5 years to beat him. But you guys have a chess, that's different than chess. You have rooks, you have bishops, you have all kinds of stuff. So, and that's part of your rebalancing, portfolio and opportunities. So, what was the idea behind the chess game, and what's the importance of rebalancing, and how do you accomplish it?
So in terms of what you are looking at, queen, bishop, and rook, right? This will definitely appeal to our version 1, version 2. So why we want to call it queen, bishop, and rook? Maybe I will just explain it. In our setup, the queen can be split into one queen can be split into 0.5 bishop and 0.5 rook. Now, if we look at the game of chess, queen can move in multiple directions, whereas rook can only move vertically and horizontally, while a bishop can move diagonally. So if you actually put them together, right, they actually become how the queen will move, right? All the total moves. So this plus the bishop plus rook moves become actually the queen. So what we're trying to explain simply is that one queen we can be splitting into a stable fund as well as a fund as a token with leverage. I'll give you an example. In our product of QETH, we take the Ethereum from users. We actually staked it into the validators, and the receipt of it will be called a QETH, much like your stake ETH. And users sometimes will have a demand for it, which is, okay, for example, I believe that from now at this juncture, where the ETH has gone down lower, that it will go up to 4,000 very soon, right? Let's say today is 2006, 2007. I believe that tomorrow it will go like to 4,000. I would definitely want to have ownership of my Rook token. Why? Because this gives you 2 times leverage. So meaning to say that if you move from 2,600 today to 4,000, then you'll be making 1,400 times 2 approximately, with some friction here and there, and also how the NAV of the token might move. But that's kind of like the use of it. Now on the other side, which is your stable fund, which have you split in two, users will be thinking maybe at a point of 4,000 that they will want to exchange out of their Rook to be holding on to a stable fund, much like what you have in USD form, because it might move lower from there. So in essence, this is how the Queen, Bishop, and Rook token will work. Queen, basically for users who just want to be very simple, holding on to one-time risk of Ethereum, but at the same time have you coming back from staking. Stable fund for very conservative or new users who don't really understand but want to participate. They will get stable returns. And Rook, the more advancing forward, sophisticated user will definitely use the 2 times leverage for good purpose, to have a small leverage but not oversized ones, such that it will be able to get you a multiplied profit. So how does the rebalancing works? Now, again, like where does the Rook gets its 2 times leverage from? It actually gets it from Bishop. If because it's 2 times, right? What if, for example, Rook collapse 25%? Now the underlying token ETH would have been down almost about 50%. That's when a rebalance will kick in to ensure that users of a Bishop is kept safe, or rather the whole token ecosystem within Tranchess is kept safe. The same happens again for the setup when Rook goes up 50%. So there's a rebalancing of the token to make sure that the leverage is held in a safe manner that protects the ecosystem, so that there will not be what you known as uh, uh, immediate cut off, or basically reducing your position immediately, like what exchanges does, right? If what happened is, if the market today tanks today, and the exchange decides to, based on margin, put you down, that doesn't happen in the ecosystem of Tranchess, because we are protected by the rebalancing mechanism. Yeah.
So if I use Tranchess, I won't end up in checkmate.
You can look at it as how you will not end up being checkmate, if you want to look at that. Yes. You can look at it that way.
Yeah. I love what you're doing. It's very creative. Yeah, that's good.
I would say that definitely it's definitely quite forward looking. When we first started, I think people had a bit of difficulty understanding us, and we did spend a lot of time trying to explain what we did or what we do. We elaborated over quite a few mediums. If you're from maybe finance, I think this would be quite easily so-called understandable. But if you're from a DeFi market, or if you're new to finance, this might be a bit more mind-boggling. I would say in total, I think we are here to be a convergence of both sides. And we believe that, like all products, it takes time to be understood. It takes time to be kind of like get even more popular with more understanding. But we are definitely here to introduce sophisticated products in DeFi that will benefit the industry, that will benefit individuals, or rather institutions across. And we hope that continues to be the trend for Tranchess.
I love it. I look forward to seeing what you guys do, and how you perform. I want to shift gears a little bit, and then I want to come back to ETFs and stuff and DeFi. First, I want to find out, you are with the digital, in addition to Tranchess, you are the Digital Assets Association of Singapore as well. So I want to find out what your mission and your vision are as part of that organization.
So Digital Assets Association is set up by like-minded people. Myself, we have many years in traditional finance, or kind of one of two of my exco members are even ex-regulators for 15 to 20 years. But now all of us are in Web3 space. We do see the struggles, we do see the siloed developments, we do see kind of the lack of communication between so-called financial institutions, and on the other extreme ends, your Web3, your blockchain, your protocol. So most of the time, people are developing side by side straight lines across away from each other. So the motivation of this association is to bring about a common platform, communication channel, avenue for basically both sides to come together and discuss, move towards a common standard future of digital assets. On our first event, you actually see like banks talking to blockchains. You actually see a protocol being asked by a trader from a bank, or what is a protocol. So you do understand that I think people don't really have a very good grasp of like what's happening on both sides. In fact, there could be some misunderstandings from before that, DeFi runs by itself. There's no need to work together on anything with the traditional side. Well, truth be told, perhaps if we have more proper governance, a more check and balance, maybe FTX wouldn't happen. Maybe some funds that went bust wouldn't happen. And that kind of reinforcement has already taken place with the traditional finance side, right? But there isn't such protection or knowledge on the crypto, the DeFi side. So you need both sides to kind of work together. If you can also see from another perspective, I think what DeFi is trying to do is financial inclusion. It's maybe if you don't have a bank account, you can also be able to, transfer money, be able to gain yield on your assets. Or on the traditional banking side is so-called the world bank. But the greater financial inclusion or for the world to benefit from a greater pool of resources is basically to have both the unbanked and the world bank being included together in a much bigger ecosystem. So you can say that DA is working towards that direction, and we want people from both sides to be well educated, well knowledge of what's happening on both sides, have a common standard, share new experiences, share new products, share new innovations, and therefore bring about a convergence from both so-called the DeFi crypto digital asset side with the traditional finance. That's the motivation of the DA is why it's set up. And I want to clearly also emphasize that this is a non-profit. So very grateful to the team at DAA, in which I'm co-chair for like really working out of their free time to get this properly set up. Good news is we are being adopted by other countries, and this is slowly growing overseas from Singapore. And anyways, it was meant to be kind of like transnational. Singapore was just the base in which we do it from. But we hope this association will be able to be driven and delivered far and wide.
I like it. I think it's great. I always knew Singapore was forward looking, so it's good to hear. Now I want to go into and Singapore. Singapore and Asia are looking to take the lead in more than just governance and moving the industry forward. You're looking to take the lead in spot ETF staking. So, what does it mean for Asia to take the lead in spot ETF staking, and what are the ramifications for the rest of the world?
I think once we realize that Ethereum it's going to be on ETF, the next natural thought to be will be when is staking going to come, and how and in what format is it going to come. It's just as per someone is holding on to plenty of US dollars and they are not putting in deposit, they are just putting it there without any yield. I think it's quite difficult to fathom that. I mean, like people would definitely want to put it somewhere where it can earn some yield. I mean, look at it. Also, if you are a market maker from you're providing an ETF, people pay you cash to get the ETF. You also need to hatch it to buy Ethereum. But thereafter you buy the Ethereum, what happened? You won't leave it there, right? As someone who's always looking for optimization, this Ethereum will also have to be going on to be doing staking. So I guess it's a matter of like whether the ETF staking is going on to institution or it's going to be in this format, like what you mentioned about possibility of a staking in ETF coming, that will be provided back to individual or institutional investors that actually held on to this. It definitely will add more volume and interest into kind of like the staking space. How much it can grow, it's very hard to say at this juncture, but I do think that from here we easily can grow quite a bit of upside with an increase in the spot price as well as an increase in interest in Ethereum staking in terms of the volume.
Sounds interesting. So you're looking at DeFi, right? I to me it's disconnect. I have a maybe you can clear this up for me. Because I want to use an example. Like I want to use Aave as an example. Total value locked on Aave is 20 billion. Total market cap of Aave is 1 billion. That's just one example. There are many DeFi protocols where the total value lock far exceeds the market value, right? When will we see the total value lock be reflected in the market cap? And why is access to DeFi growing, essential to the broader audience? Like why, like how are we going to see it in conversions of market and TVL and see the broader audience come on board?
Well, I guess there are different concepts. If we look at asset management fund has 100 million, and it has maybe it makes about 5% from that per annum. That makes it 5 million. A TVL is just showing like how much it has. It does not really show that how much it's making in terms of revenue and profit. So for your market cap to actually move way higher, that means to say that this bottom line of how much you're making has to be much, much, much bigger. And for people to be interested and be able to buy and support, let's say your equity or something, to reflect a high market cap. So maybe that's one way that I will want to look at it, right? TVL is just your asset under management. Although technically it's very different thing, because I have to say that in smart contracts in the world of DeFi, we don't really have access to the fund, not like a fund manager. It's based on the protocol just have smart contracts set up for users to be able to put in the money and do the transaction that they want. Most of the time, I would advise people to look at protocols as a series of smart contracts set up to facilitate a user. It's a bit different from how you want to look at asset management firm, where the asset manager has a direct ability to touch on your money and put into investments as they deem fit, discretionary basis. So I hope that explains in terms of like the market cap and in terms of TVL. I think clearly they are different numbers that you want to look at it more as a comparison to what I've mentioned in a real world example. I do think that the market cap will continue to grow higher when across protocols, across in different kind of a setup that we see, having more use case and definitely a sustainable revenue generating model. I think that would definitely be something that will push kind of like the market cap to a much higher level. I just want to say that most people see a correlation of high TVL versus kind of like a high market cap. I maybe to look at it as a user, right? Why does a high TVL benefit you if you're a holder of the token of a certain protocol? It will only benefit you if the TVL that's big has transaction fees, and that transaction fees is going into the protocol, which redistributes it back to holders of the token of the native token. That means to say that if the TVL grows much larger, the absolute number generated from revenue will be higher, and then it will be redistributed back to holders of that token. Then yes, there will be more users, there will be more push and buying of that token because it makes sense. It's just like why you'll buy into a certain company, maybe because the dividend instead of like 5%, it becomes 10%, 20%. Okay, it's doing well. Then it makes it easier for people to want to own the equity, right? So again, like I'm not supposed to use equity to to describe that, but it's different thing. It's not a security, but a token has some characteristics, like similar, that you can compare it with a real world kind of like a financial setup.
Thank you. Thank you for the clarity. This is great. So I want to talk about options in liquid staking, because there's some new terms and terminology, liquid staking, restaking, there's other kind of stakings, right? What options are available? What should be available?
This is actually quite a very popular kind of like section for people to come in and say that, oh, what really is good liquid staking. Liquid staking is the best if you can stake your tokens at the same time, you get points. Some say that, oh, it will be great if I can do liquid staking and I have my tokens taken on for another layer of validation or security of another ecosystem. I think those are kind of like what's in trend nowadays, not just staking but restaking as well, as so called. But I would say what is available is not the key point. What is available, what should be the focus is for the users to come in and know clearly that what are their risk parameters, and also how they want to ensure the safety of their so-called investments. If, for example, you want to be more conventional, you want to ensure that you have your so-called liquid staking tokens being taken out at any time, then perhaps a bigger TVL or a bigger or older kind of like a setup would be more for you. Why? Because we all know that for Ethereum to be staked, it takes time for the validator to be set up, and thereafter you need to put 32 ETH in. And when you want to take it out, this validator needs to be closed, and it takes a certain number of days for the Ethereum to be taken out. Now, this is what happened in a real Ethereum staking process. Now, the bigger kind of like a validator staking, or you can call it liquid staking, tokens, is because at the same time there is also a lot of movement in terms of assets in and out. So sometimes when you want to take out your Ethereum, you don't have to wait long, because at the same time when you want to take it out, there's people who want to go in. So in terms of someone who's looking for ability to take out fast, you can definitely look at a higher TVL or kind of like a protocol that has been running for a long time. I would say that definitely Tranchess is one of the protocol that has been doing this a long time. But if I'm being very honest, I think brands like Lido and Rocket, they have a much bigger TVL than us. So I leave it to users to decide like what their needs are, and to go into liquid staking with their eyes wide open. If you are looking at liquid staking, you are definitely a user who wants to be holding on to Ethereum long term and looking for a stable yield. So this is very much like a user with dollars trying to go to different banks looking for the highest deposit rate, right? So you can look at that. Yeah, I'm probably not supposed to make such real world, kind of like a comparison, but I hope that this makes it people to understand. If I have to say, add one more point, if you are already a very sophisticated kind of users in liquid staking, you might want to come to Tranchess, for example, and do liquid staking on Stone, because at the same time you will be able to get a higher yield, or at the same time you'll be able to get points. I think kind of like that's the new um gameplay, or kind of like attraction for people who wants to come into uh a higher level of liquid staking or another gameplay in liquid staking.
It doesn't sound like it doesn't sound sounds to me like it's a really good game to play. Coming to you for liquid staking on stones and your products because you're forward thinking. So it sounds good to me. So yeah. So I want to
Yeah.
thank you. I want to thank you very much for speaking with me today. I enjoyed speaking with you, and I have one last question. It's simple. How can people find out more information about you, about Tranchess? How can they become customers or clients, or use your protocol to gain yield and to use your products? How can they do that?
Multiple ways. First of all, go to www.tranchess.com. That'll be tranchess.com. Then thereafter, below, if you scroll to the bottom, you'll be able to find links to our Telegram, to our Discord, to our Twitter, and also to our Medium blog. So our Medium blog is for definitely someone who wants to look at very detailed description of our new launches or past launches or what's going on. If you're more technical person, definitely go to the GitHub. If you're someone who wants to look for a quicker few liners and know what's happening to us, definitely go to our Twitter. It's just Tranchess on Twitter. And any other questions that can't be resolved, or you can't find details, or you want to have a quick answer to, go on to the TG or Discord. There will be ambassadors, community managers on it to answer any questions that you might have regarding Tranchess.
Got it. Sounds great. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thanks very much for having me on, Jamil.